Good day, everyone. Our topic for this week is about the normal distribution. Okay, let us have a few points on our past discussion. Okay, so we have discussed that there are two types of data. We have the qualitative data and the quantitative data. Okay, the quantitative data composed of the discrete and the continuous variable. So when we say discrete, these are data which are countable. Okay? And when we say continuous, these are data that cannot be counted but we can measure. Okay? So, our past discussion on the discrete probability distribution is a distribution about the discrete data or the discrete variables. Okay? So, this time, sa normal distribution, we will be discussing the continuous probability distribution. Okay? So the normal distribution is the distribution that involves the continuous variables. Okay? So when we say continuous, it can be measured. So data are gathered through measurement. Okay? So we will create a distribution or what we call the normal probability distribution or the normal distribution. Okay? Okay? The normal probability distribution and its properties. So let us start with the properties. So what are the properties of the normal distribution? Okay? So the following are the properties that can be observed from the graph of a normal distribution, also known as the Gaussian distribution. Okay? So marami palang term tayo na pwedeng gamitin using this distribution or the continuous probability distribution. Okay, we may use the normal distribution or the Gaussian distribution. Okay, okay. First property, the graph is a continuous curve and has a domain of negative infinity to positive infinity. Okay, so at the middle, we have here the x or the mean. Okay, so in between the negative infinity and the positive infinity, we have here the mean. Okay, so ibig sabihin, meron tayong dalawang ends. Okay, we have two ends. Okay, the one on the left side is the negative infinity, and on the right side we have the positive infinity. Okay, so what do we mean by infinity? Okay, ibig sabihin, walang, yan, sabi dito, without bound. Okay, so hindi natin alam kung saan siya talaga mapuputol. Okay, it is infinite. Kaya nga, infinity yung term na ginamit dito sa statement na to. Okay, so ganun din sa right side, infinite din yung end. Okay, end ng ano ba yan? Ng curve. Okay, a continuous curve. Okay, so yung dalawang end ng curve, on the left side, it is the negative infinity, and on the right side, it is the positive infinity. Okay? The graph is asymptotic to the x-axis. The value of the variable gets closer and closer, but will never be equal to 0. So what does it mean? Okay? When we say asymptotic to the x-axis, it means that the end the end of the curve. Okay, so number one, we have here the curve. The curve is when we say infinite, it seems that it is endless or without bound. Okay, so yung end of the curve, okay, it is asymptotic to the x-axis. Okay, the variable gets closer and closer but will never be equal to 0. So ibig sabihin yung curve daw, okay, saan siya manggagaling? Siyempre dito sa middle or yung tinatawag natin na mean. Okay? From the mean, bababa siya, let's say dito sa negative infinity, bababa siya papunta sa x-axis. Okay? So, bababa yung curve papunta sa x-axis but Ano sabi sa property na to? It will never be equal to 0. Never. Hindi siya magiging equal to 0. So, what does it mean? So, ibig sabihin, yung end ng curve will not touch the x-axis. Okay? If the curve touches the x-axis, it only means that it is equal to 0. But the property says that it will never be equal to 0. So, the end of the curve will not touch the x-axis. Okay? Both end of the curve will never touch the x-axis. Both tail or both end of the curve will not be equal to 0. As the x gets larger and larger in the positive direction, the tail of the curve approaches but will never touch the horizontal axis. 3. The highest point on the curve occurs at the mean. Okay, so nabanggit ko kanina na the highest point of the curve is the mean. Okay, so nabanggit na natin yan kanina. So yung highest point, it is the highest peak. So yun yung pinakamataas. Okay, take note that the mean is denoted by this symbol. Okay, this symbol is mu. Okay, and the standard deviation is denoted by this symbol. Okay, this is the symbol for the standard deviation. So we will use this symbol. So maging familiar na kayo sa mga symbol na yan kasi mas madalas nyo na silang makikita. Okay, so ang mean natin, so when we say mean, it is the average. Okay, so the average, it is found at the highest peak or at the highest point of the curve. Okay, so tatlo na yung property na na-discuss natin. First, yung domain natin is from negative infinity to positive infinity. Okay, second, the graph is asymptotic to the x-axis. It will never touch the horizontal axis. Okay, third is the highest point of the curve is at the mean. Okay? Okay? The mean and the mode of the distribution are also found at the center of the graph. Okay? This indicates that in the normal distribution, the mean, median, and mode are equal. Okay? So yan, malinaw yan. Sinasabi dito na kung ano yung mean, yun din yung median and yung mode. Okay? So, review natin do sa mga past lesson ninyo sa GenMath. Okay, ano ba yung mean, ano yung median, and ano yung mode? Okay, when we say mean, it is the average. When we say median, okay, it is the middle. Okay, and when we say mode, it is the most number of frequency. Okay, so kung mapapansin ninyo, yung mean yun yung average, it is found at the center or at the middle. Okay? So, ito rin yung middle ng curve. Okay? Ito rin yung center, ito rin yung highest point, at ito rin yung middle ng curve. Okay? So, ito rin yung median. Okay? So, bakit naman ito yung mode? Bakit dito natin makikita yung most number of frequency? Kung makikita nyo, siya yung pinaka mataas o siya yung highest. Ibig sabihin, ito yung pinakamarami. Kaya nga siya yung most number of frequency. Okay? So, kung alin yung median, ano yung mode, yun yung mean. Okay? So, equal lang yung tatlo na yan. So, iisa lang sila. Kapag hinanap natin yung mean ng curve, it is found in the middle. So, hanapin din ng median and mode, it is also at the middle of the curve. Okay? At the highest peak of the curve. Okay? Number 4. The curve is symmetrical about its mean. Okay? So, what does it mean? Okay? The curve will have balanced proportion when cut into halves, and the area under the curve to the right of the mean is 50%, is equal to the area under the curve to the left ay 50% din. Okay? So, pag sinabing symmetrical, okay? Sabi dito, kung hahatiin mo daw yan sa gitna, ito yung middle, di ba? Ito yung gitna, ito yung mean, ito yung mode, di ba? Ito yung middle. Hatiin natin sa gitna. Ang sabi, Yung nasa right side is 50%, yung nasa left side 50%, nasa right side ay 50% din. Okay? They are both 50% and they are equal. When we say symmetrical, pareho din siya ng itsura. Okay? So, magkakaroon siya ng mirror effect. Mirror effect, di ba? Hindi naman kasi ganito din yung hugis ng kabila. Kumbaga, pag dito ka mag-start, mirror effect na. Kumbaga, mula dito, mula dito, okay, dito ka magsimula sa gitna. Mula dito sa gitna, papunta dito sa dulo, ay kamukha din niya ng sukat ng mula dito sa gitna na to at papunta sa dulo ng right. Okay, papunta sa right. So, symmetrical siya. Pareho siya ng sukat. Okay, next. Number 5. The total area in the normal distribution under the curve is equal to 1. Okay. So, syempre, 50% to plus 50%, that is equal to 1. Okay? So, lahat daw, buong area, kahit itong nandito sa tail, kasama yan. Okay? That is equal to 1. Okay? Since the mean divides, yun, so yun nga, equal to 1. Divide 50 to 50, that is equal to 1. Okay? Number 6, in general, the graph of the normal distribution is a bell shape. Okay? There are what we call the inflecting points. Okay? Two inflecting points, one on the left and on the other on the right. Inflecting points are the points that mark the change in the curve's concavity. Okay, so nasaan ba dito yung sinasabing inflecting points? Okay, so ito yung inflecting points. Okay, ito yung inflecting points dito at the left side at ito naman yung sa right side. Okay, so kung mapapansin nyo, mayroon siyang interval. From the middle or from the mean, meron siyang interval dito bago siya makarating sa right and interval before siya makarating dito, yung inflecting points sa left. Okay? This point is a point at which a change in the direction of the curve of mean minus the standard deviation and mean plus the standard deviation. So what the sentence said is that from 0, okay, add 1 standard deviation away from the mean. So the interval is 1 standard deviation. Okay, and another interval from the middle to the left. Okay, that is 1 standard deviation. Okay. Note that each inflection point of the normal curve is 1 standard deviation away from the mean. Okay. Every normal curve corresponds to the empirical rule called the 68, 95, and 99.7% rule. Okay, about 68.3% of the area under the curve falls within 1 standard deviation away from the mean. Okay, so ibig sabihin yan, kung nakikita ninyo yung mga may shaded area, okay, itong may shaded area na to, from the middle, 1 standard deviation away, papunta sa right, and 1 standard deviation away, papunta sa left. Okay? So, i-shade mo yung area na yan. So, gaano daw yan kalaki? As said to the empirical rule, ang area na yan ay 68.3%. Okay? So, sa next point, we have 95.4%. Okay? That is 2 standard away from the mean. Okay? So, kung ito yung mean, okay, so dalawang standard deviation away. So, 1, ito 2, okay, papunta sa right, and then another from the left. Okay, mag-start sa mean, papunta sa left, 1, 2. Okay, shade mo yung area na yan. So, gaano daw kalaki yung area na yan? As to the empirical rule, that is 95.4%. Okay? So, ganun din dito sa 3 standard deviation away from the mean, to the right and to the left. Okay? Shade all the area. And the area, ano daw ang sukat ng area na yan? That is 99.7%. Okay? So, kung titingnan natin, yung 68.3%, okay, dun sa unang term sa empirical rule, that is 68.3%. Okay? Di ba dalawang area to? Okay? One standard deviation away from the mean, and another standard deviation away from the mean papunta sa left. Okay? So, kung hahatiin natin to, 68.3%, that is 34.15. Okay? So, tong area na to ay 34.15. Okay? And this area is also 34.15. Okay? And the two standard deviation away from the mean, okay, kung susukatin natin yan, okay, so two standard deviation away from the mean, both is equal to 95.4%. Pero kung hahatiin natin yan, dito sa middle, okay, yung nasa right side ay 47.7% and yung nasa left side ay 47.7%. Okay? So, bakit siya magkamuka? Bakit magkakamuka yung sukat niya? Okay? Remember that the property, one of the property of the normal curve ay symmetrical sila about its mean. Okay? So, kung pareho siyang, let's say ito ay pareho siyang 2 standard deviation away from the mean, ibig sabihin, pareho lang din siya ng sukat. Okay? So, ganun din dito sa 3 standard away from the mean. So, tatlong standard deviation away from the mean to the right and to the left. Okay? That is 99.7%. Pero kung hahatiin natin siya sa gitna, that is 49.85% sa right side and 49.85% sa left side. Again, they are symmetrical, kaya pag hinati natin sila sa gitna, pareho siya ng sukat. Okay? Consider the following example. Suppose the mean is 60 and the standard deviation is 5. Sketch a normal curve for the distribution. This is how it would look like. Okay? So, mag-sketch daw tayo ng normal distribution. So, ano yung drawing natin? Ito, yung line na to sa baba, which is the x-axis. And then, itong line na to, that is the y-axis. And then, we will draw a curve. Okay, so mag-draw, ayan. Ito yung curve, yung nasa taas na yan. Okay. So, ano ang sabi? Show the mean. Okay. Kung ito yung mean, ang mean daw ay 60. So, ilalagay natin sa baba ay 60. Okay. And the standard deviation is 5. So, alam na naman natin na ang standard deviation ay yung interval points ng normal curve. So, kung ang standard deviation ay 5, so, we will count by 5 from 60. So, 60 add 5. This is the first point of the standard deviation away from the mean. Okay? The second point is 70, another 5. So, 65 plus 5, that is 70. That is the third point away from the mean. Okay? Papunta sa right side. And the third point is 75. Okay? The third standard deviation away from the mean. Okay? So, if pupunta naman tayo sa left from the mean, which is 60, so, syempre, pababa naman yun. So, anong gagawin natin? Magma-minus naman tayo ng 5. From 60 dito, nag-add tayo. So, from 60 dito, magbabawas naman tayo kasi ito ay pababa. So, 60 minus 5, we have 55. The first point or the interval away from the mean papunta sa left. The second point is 50 and the third point is 45. Okay, third point, third standard deviation away from the mean papunta sa left. Okay? Number 2. A continuous random variable x is normally distributed with a mean of 45. Okay? The standard deviation of 6, okay, illustrate a normal curve and find the probability of the following. So, meron daw yung mean, which is 45. So, saan makikita yung mean? Siyempre, sa middle. Okay? And the standard deviation ay 6. So, 6 daw yung magiging interval. So, 45 plus 6, 51 plus 6, 57 plus 6, 63. So, 45 minus 6, 39, minus 6, 33, minus 6, 27. Okay? So, ano yung sinasabi to? Illustrate a normal curve and find the probability of the following. So, hanapin daw yung probability, yung hinihingi dito. Okay? So, ito yung hinihingi sa atin. Okay? The probability of 39 to 51. Okay? 39 to 51. Pag sinabing probability, we are looking for the percentage area. Okay? So, ito yung probability, ito yung distribution na hinahanap natin. Okay? So, from 39 to 51, gaano daw to kalaki yung area na yan? So, di ba alam naman natin na kapag one standard away from the mean, okay, this is 34.15 and another 34.15, another one standard away from the mean. Okay? So, alam natin na that is 68.3%. Okay? Next. So, ang hinahanap sa atin ay probability of x is greater than 45. Again, the probability of x is greater than 45. So, ito, paano ba ito basahin? Probability of 39 is less than x and is less than 251. Okay? Letter C, the probability of x is greater than 45. So, hanapan natin yung 45. Di ba yung 45 natin dito ay yung mean. Okay? So, nasaan daw yung greater than 45? Okay? Magsimula tayo sa 45, nasaan daw dyan yung greater than o yung mas mataas sa 45. Okay? So, yung mas mataas sa 45 ay yung nahan dito sa right side. So, kung makikita nyo, iyan yung shaded part. Kasi, ibig sabihin, lahat ng nasa right side, ito yung greater part ng 45 o yung mas mataas sa 45. Okay? So, hanapin natin yung area ng greater than 45. So, alam naman natin na ito yung mean at nasa middle tayo. So, ibig sabihin, both side, left and right are 50%. So, lahat ng tataas sa mean, okay, lahat ng, kung kukuhanin natin ang area, okay, from the mean, ibig sabihin, from the mean pataas, that is 50% because it is half of the curve. Okay, so alam naman natin na ang property ng curve is equal to 1. So, yung half ng curve is equal to 50%. Okay. Letter B. The probability of 33 is less than the mean and is less than 263. Okay, so ito yung hinahanap natin. Okay, the probability of 33 is less than x and is less than 263. Okay, so paano natin yan makikita? So, hanapin natin yung 33. Nasaan yung point ng 33? So, nandito siya. At nasaan yung point ng 63? So, nandito siya. Nasa third point. Okay, so kung natatandaan ninyo yung empirical rule natin, kapag 3 standard deviation away from the mean, that is 49.85. At kapag 2 standard deviation away from the mean, that is 47.7%. So, i-add nyo lang yan, you will have 97.55%. Okay? So, ganun din dito sa letter D. Okay? So, find the probability of x is less than 39. Less than 39. So, hanapin natin yung 39. Ano yung hinahanap? Yung less than 39 o yung mas mababa sa 39. So, itong lahat na to sa left side, gaano daw yan kalaki? Okay? So, balik tayo dun sa property. We all know that half of the curve is equal to 50%. Okay? At alam natin na yung first standard deviation, first point of the standard deviation away from the mean is equal to 34.15. So, ito yung first standard deviation away from the mean and that is 34.15. Okay? So, ibawas lang natin kasi 'di ba from the mean, ito yung sukat, from the mean papunta dito sa left, that is 50%. Ibawas natin tong part na to kasi hindi naman to kasama sa hinihingi, 'di ba? Less than 39 lang ang hinihingi. Okay? So, hindi to kasama. Kung dito ka mag-start sa kalahati, ibawas mo yung 34.15 kasi ito yung sukat na yon, yung 34.15. So, yung matitira ay ito na lang yung shaded area. And that is 15.85%. Okay? So, sagutan itong what's more, what I have learned, what I can do, and assessment. Okay? So, we move on with the next lesson, which is the standard normal distribution. Okay? Okay. As mentioned earlier, normal variable is standardized by setting the mean to 0 and the standard deviation to 1. Okay? This is for the purpose of simplifying the process in approximating areas for the normal curve. As shown below is the formula used to manually compute the approximate area. So, ito daw yung formula to compute for the approximate area para malaman natin kung ano yung value ng gaano nakalaki yung area, 'di ba? Sa past dito sa past lesson, diniscuss natin yung empirical rule na merong 68.3%, 'di ba? Merong tayong 95 and 97%. Okay? So, dito para hindi na tayo mahirapang mag-compute. Kasi kino-compute naman talaga yan. Okay? So, empirical rule, part of the property yon. Okay? Dito, what if hindi naman siya sakto? What if hindi naman siya sakto na 1 standard deviation away? So, paano mo malalaman yung sukat ng area? Okay? So, ang gagawin mo daw, you will use this formula. Okay? But this formula is very complex and we have here a table para hindi na natin gamitin tong formula na to. Okay? So, kung gagamitin naman natin tong formula na to, same lang din yung lalabas sa computation. So, para padaliin yung buhay natin sa pagko-compute ng area of the normal distribution, okay, so meron tayong gagamitin na z-table. So, we do not have to use this formula to find the area. So, we will just use the table. So, let us get a closer look at the z-table. The outermost column and the row represent the z values. Ito yung mga z values. Okay, so ano po ba yung z values? So, kung makikita nyo yung, kung natatandaan niyo yung itsura ng ating curve, meron siyang value sa baba. Okay, di ba? Yung normal distribution, nagsisimula siya sa 0, and then plus 1, standard deviation, yung susunod sa left and sa right, and then next point ng standard deviation is 2, which is the second point of the standard deviation. Okay, and the third point, okay, ang makikita mo sa baba ay 3. Okay, so iyon din yung z-score na sinasabi natin. Okay, yung point ng standard deviation. So, here is an example of the point of the standard deviation or the z-score. Okay, so let us have 1.85 as the z-score of the standard deviation. So, ang sabi dito, hanapin daw natin yung area ng 1.85. Ibig sabihin, from 0 to 1.85. Gaano daw yun kalaki? Okay? So, hanapin natin, that is 1.8. Diba, 85 yan? Nasaan yung 5 nandito sa taas? Okay? So, 0.05 plus 1.8, that is 1.85. So, pagsamahin lang natin yan, saan tayo hihinto? Okay? Dito tayo hihinto sa 0.9678. Dito tayo hihinto sa table. Okay? Kailangan nilang mag-meet. Okay? So, dito sila nag-meet sa 0.9678. So, ito na yung laki ng curve or yung laki ng distribution or yung laki ng probability. Okay? So, ano yung pinahanap sa atin? Yung area na nagka-correspond sa 1.85. 85. So, gaano kalaki yung area? That is 0.9678. Convert into percent. Okay, that is 96.78%. Okay. Find the area that corresponds to 2.67. Okay, so paano natin gagawin? Again, hanapin muna natin yung 2.6 dito sa leftmost ng table, leftmost column ng table, and then yung 0.07 sa upper part ng curve natin makikita. So, 2.6, nandito sa taas yung 7. So, pag-meet natin sila. So, saan sila mag-meet? Saan sila magtatapos? Dito sa part na to. So, that is 0.9962. Kung i-convert natin ito into percentage or into percent, that is 99.62%. So, that is the area that corresponds to the Z is equals to 2.67. So, ganun lang kadali gumamit ng table. Okay? Find the area that corresponds to Z is equals to negative 2.33. Okay? Note that the Z table used in the cumulative distribution function of the standard normal curve refer to the attached pages on 19 and 20. So, merong naka-attach dito na table on page 19 and 20. Now that you already know how to use the Z-table, find the corresponding area for the Z-score. Let us identify the region under the normal curve that corresponds to the different standard normal values. In order to find the region, a probability notation is used. Okay? Ito yung sinasabing probability notation. Okay? The probability notation, okay, the probability of A is less than Z is less than B indicates that the Z value is in between A and B. Okay? The probability of Z is greater than A means that the value is above A, and the probability of C is less than A means that the value is below A. Okay? It would not matter whether we are considering the probability of Z is less than A or the probability of C is less than or equal A, or the probability of C is greater than A, or the probability of C is greater than or equal to A. Okay? To illustrate, let us consider this example. Find the proportion of the area between Z is equals to negative 1.25 and 2.19. This can be expressed as the probability of negative 1.25 is less than Z and is less than 2.19. Read as the probability of Z is greater than negative 1.25 but is less than 2.19. So, ganun mo daw babasahin yon. Okay? Step 1, draw the normal curve and locate the Z-scores and shade. Okay, so mag-draw ka ng curve. Yan, ito yung curve. O yan, ito yung curve. Yan, mag-draw ka daw niyan. So, syempre, meron siyang horizontal x-axis. Okay? And then, locate the Z-score. Okay? Ano ilo-locate natin Z-score? Negative 1.25 and positive 2.19. So, ang negative side nandito, so ito yung negative 1. So, most probably nandito nga siya. Okay, so ito yung linya kung saan nandun yung negative 1.25. And ito naman yung line kung saan nandun yung positive 2.19. So, kung makikita mo, lagpas siya sa 2 kasi 2.19. So, lagpas talaga siya ng 2. So, most probably, nandito talaga yung point ng 2.19. And then, nilagyan yan ng shade. Okay? So, hanapin daw yung sukat ng shaded part na yan. Okay? So, to locate, okay, so gamitin natin yung table. Okay? 1.25 has a corresponding area of 0.1056. So, saan ito makikita? Doon sa table. Okay? Positive 2.19 has a corresponding area of 0.9857. So, saan ito hahanapin? Ganun din sa table. Okay? Hanapin mo yung 2.19. So, ito yung makikita mo. Okay? And then, ano yung gagawin mo? alam natin na both area ay nagsimula dito sa 0. So, all you have to do is to add. Kasi nagsimula yan pareho dito sa 0. From 0 hanggang papunta dito sa positive, positive infinity or positive 2.19. Okay? So, ang area daw niya, mula dito sa 0 hanggang dito sa 2.19, that is 98.57. And from 0 to 1 to negative 1.25, that is 0.1056. So, what you're gonna do is to add the left side to the right side to get the total uh, distribution or the total probability distribution. Okay? Compute the probability using the standard normal curve of letter A, P, or the probability of Z is less than positive 1.67. So, let us first draw a curve. Okay? Ano yung sabi? Less than 1.67. So, lahat ng mababa sa 1.67, yun yung isasama mo na isi-shaded mo na part. Okay? So, yun din yung hahanapin mo na area. Yung shaded part. Yun yung hahanapin mo kung gaano siya kalaki. Okay? So, ito na probably, most probably, kasi 1.67 is between 1 and 2. So, ito na yung 1.67. Ito yung point ng 1.67. So, from this point, hanapin natin yung sukat niya. Okay? Sabi, less than. So, saan dito yung mas mababa sa letter Z? So, yung papunta sa left. Yun yung ating hahanapin na area or yung hahanapin natin na sukat. Okay? Para makuha yan, alam naman natin na from 0, both sides are equal to 50%. So, ano na ngayon ang hahanapin mo? Okay? So, alam natin na itong left side ay 50%. Okay? Pero yung right side, di naman natin pwedeng isama na 50% lang. Kasi ang shaded part ay hanggang dito lang sa 1.67. So, all you have to do is to get the value of 1.67 doon sa table. Okay? So, dito, ang sabi, ang makukuha daw yan na corresponding area is 0.9525. Okay? So, letter B, the probability of Z is greater than negative 0.65. Okay? Negative 0.65. So, from negative 0.65, ang hahanapin natin ay, sabi dito, ay greater than Z. So, mas mataas daw sa 0.65. So, yun yung area na hahanapin natin o susukatin natin. Okay? So, negative 0.65. So, that is between 0 and 1. So, most probably, nandito nga siya sa point na to. Okay? So, ito yung point ng 0.65. So, sabi, greater. So, saan part dito yung mas mataas? Okay? So, yung mas mataas dito ay yung papunta sa right. So, from 0.65, i-shade mo na lahat ng papunta sa taas. Okay? So, i-shade mo yung area na yan. So, yan yung hahanapin natin na area. Okay? So, para makita natin yung area na yan, ano yung gagawin? Okay? So, draw the normal curve. Locate the z-score. So, locate na natin. Locate the corresponding area of the z-score in the z table. Ano daw? Gaano daw kalaki yung area na yan? Okay? Sa z-score, binigyan tayo ng area that corresponds to negative 0.65. Okay? Kaya lang, itong 0.65 na to ay nag-start dito. Okay? Dito sa part na to hanggang dito. Okay? So, yung laki na yan, itong 0.2578, ito yung white na part, yung walang shade. Ito yung 0.2578. Okay? So, hindi naman ito yung pinahanap sa atin, di ba? Ito yung kabila, yung shaded part. Okay? So, paano yung gagawin natin? So, alam naman natin na area under the curve, yung buong area na yan is equal to 1. So, all we have to do is to deduct 0.2578 from 1. So, i-minus natin. So, 1 minus 0.2578. So we have 0.7422 as the area of this distribution. Okay, so yun yung sagot dito sa letter B. The probability of Z is greater than negative 0.65 is equal to 0.7422 or 74.22%. Okay? Okay, so the z-score is an essential component in the standard normal distribution. So, importante yung z-score kasi ito yung ginagamit natin para masukat natin yung area. Okay? This allows to describe the given set of data by finding the z-score. This leads us to the question of how z-scores are identified. But, what if hindi given ang z-scores? What if ang given ay yung area? Okay? So, how will we find the z-score? Okay, so here is the formula on how to find the z-score. Z is equals to x, which is the given variable, and the mean over the standard deviation. Okay? The z-score, the standard score, x is the observed value, and this symbol or the mu is the mean and the symbol for standard deviation. To illustrate how the value of x can be converted in z-score, here are some examples. In random variable x has a mean of 6 and a standard deviation of 2. Find the corresponding z-score for x is equals to 11. So we will use this formula. Okay? So what are the given? X is equals to 11. Mean is equals to 6 and standard deviation is equal to 2. Okay? So, i-ano lang natin yung, substitute lang natin yung value dito sa formula. Okay? The x is 11 minus mean which is 6 over the standard deviation of 2. And we will have z-score of 2.5. Okay? So, same lang din yung solution dito. Same lang din yung formula. Okay. The scores in the summative test of 11 STEM B are normally distributed with the mean of 65 and the standard deviation of 12. Find the probability that some students got a score of 40. Okay, convert the normal value into z-score. So what are the given? We have here x is equals to 40. Okay? So, yun yung hinahanap natin na probability. Okay? And we have here the mean of 65. And we have here the standard deviation of 12. Okay? So, i-substitute lang natin itong mga given value sa formula. Okay? So, x is 40, mean is 65, and standard deviation is 12. Okay? To compute that, sundan lang natin yung formula and then we will have negative 2.08. Okay, so therefore, the probability of x is less than 40 is equal to the probability of z is less than 2.08. Okay, so yung step 2, draw a normal curve and locate the z-score and shade. Okay, so ito yung 2.08. And then, ano yung shade mo? Yung sinasabi na less than z. So, when we say less than, pababa ito. So, saan dito yung pababa? Yung papunta sa left. So, yun yung lalagyan mo ng shade. Okay? Locate the corresponding area in the z-score in the z table. So, ilocate na natin para malaman natin yung area. Hanapin natin yung negative 2.08 sa z-table and that is 0.0188. Okay? In percent, that is 1.88%. So, ganun kalaki yung probability area. Okay? If you're looking for a less than area, the area in the table is the answer. Therefore, the probability of z is less than negative 2.08. That is equal to 0.0188 or 1.88%. Okay? The height in meters of grade 11 student in section A follows a normal distribution with the mean of 1.6 and the standard deviation of 0.3. Find the probability that student chosen at random has a height greater than 1.75. So the solution, convert the normal value in z-score. So what are the given? Okay, we have here the variable x is equals to 1.75. We have a mean of 1.6 and the standard deviation of 0.3. So substitute lang the value to the formula. Okay, so x is 1.75 minus 1.6 over the standard deviation of 0.3. Okay? So, compute lang natin yan. We will have z is equals to 0.5. So, therefore, the probability of x is greater than 1.75 is equal to the probability of z is greater than 0.5. So, hanapin natin yung 0.5 na point ng z-score or ng probability. Okay? So, yung 0.5, that is between 0 and 1. So, ito yung 0.5. Okay? Ito yung 0.5. So, sabi, greater than. So, kanina yung less than, saan siya papunta? Papunta sa left yung less than. So, pag sinabing greater than, papunta siya sa right. So, itong part na to, yung isi-shade natin na area. Yan. Yung buong part na yan ng curve. Okay? Magmula dito sa point na to, isi-shade natin yung area na yan. Ibig sabihin, ito yung probability or yung area ng probability na hinahanap natin. Okay? So, paano yun? Pumunta ka sa z-table, hanapin mo yung 0.05, and then, ano yung makukuha mong value? You will have 0.6915. Okay? So, we all know na hindi naman ito yung hinahanap natin. Bakit? Kasi itong 0.6915 ay itong walang shade na area. Kung makikita nyo yung white lang na part, okay? Ito yung 0.6915. Yan yung sukat niya. Okay? So, we all know that all the area na nasasakop ng curve, area under the curve is equal to 1. Okay? At dahil ito yung binigay na given sa atin, this one, hindi naman ito yung hinahanap natin, kundi itong kabila. Okay? So, all we have to do is to deduct 0.69.15 from 1. Okay? So, ano yung makukuha natin? That is 0.3085 or 30.85%. And the probability of z is greater than 0.05 is equal to 0.3085 or 30.85. Okay? So, percentile is a measure used in statistics indicating the value below which a given percentage of observation in a group of observation falls. Okay? So, yung percentile, ginagamit natin, let's say, ito yung decimal, convert lang natin to percent. Ito yung other form kung saan na ipe-present natin. Okay? Yung value ng probability. Okay? Ito naman yung z-table. Okay? Ito yung z-table. Yan. Mahaba yan. Ito yung isa pa. Okay? Na z-table. Okay? So, ito yung nasa negative side. At ito naman yung nasa positive side or yung nasa right side. Okay? Okay, so answer what's more, A and B, what I have learned, what I can do, and the assessment. Okay? Try to answer this activity without looking at the answer key. Okay? Dito nyo matetest yung knowledge ninyo and understanding dito sa lesson natin. And that's it for today. And I'll see you again. God bless and goodbye.